This is more a video for Zoomers or younger people or people who haven't really kind of twigged on to reality of the world or the idea that a degree itself hasn't actually got a guarantee to give you a job. So I just put a suit on just for example purposes, just to give you some examples. So if we go back into the past, the majority of millennials were told the same story. We were all told the story by our parents, in school, politicians, teachers, everyone. You get a degree, you're guaranteed a job. That was what we all got told. This includes people all around Europe, this includes people in Africa, Asia, everywhere in the world. We all got told the same old story. You get your degree, I guarantee you a job. Your degree itself was meant to basically mean you wouldn't have to do 3 to 5 years work experience in some industry. The degree itself would cover and allow you to jump start your career. For example, the things I done as for retail management, the idea behind that was if you got your retail management degree, I was one of the first people in the world to get it. That should have, in theory, allowed me to jump into a management job or assistant manager. That was basically what we got told by the boomer generations. In reality, that never happened for most of us. We started to learn very quick and early on the whole idea of what the boomers told us, you're guaranteed 40, 60,000, 100,000 a year, was in reality not true. So most of us started to learn pretty early on. I learned, like most people quite young, around 18 time period, that a degree itself doesn't actually guarantee a job. But that was what we were all told. You get your business management degree, your retail degree, your admin degree, whatever it may be, that will get you a job in that industry. That's what we got told. Then people would find that didn't happen. Now, some people would go through different stages of that. They all simply go into a denial stage, or they get told more things by the boomer man, boomer girl, whatever you call them, who basically say, "Oh yeah, your degree isn't good enough or it doesn't count. You'll need a master's degree." So some would actually go as far as getting a master's degree, a PhD, 2 different degrees, all that kind of crap, and then they find out the same old story. They haven't got a job, or it'd say things like this to him: "Oh yeah, you've got a master's degree, that's great, but oh sorry, we only take people from this university. You went to wrong years, but you said beforehand, yeah, but no, you're lying, you're wrong." So most of us started to realize quite early on the whole story about the degree didn't actually matter for most people for jobs. Now, if you're going to get a degree, for argument's sake, in say you're going to get a degree to become a doctor or a dentist, something like that, then you could argue it's worth you going because that will in theory get you a job. But most degrees as a whole are worthless. That's why a lot of people's claim is basically just a piece of paper. That was reality of what most of us started to learn pretty early. Most of us would meet older people, such as I got told by my brother. I got told by a friend who's a year older than me and told me that he couldn't get a degree when he got obviously his degree in psychology. So what exactly happened to my friend who's a year older than me who got a degree in psychology? Well, I at the time was a bit surprised because I met him. I was like, "But why are you handing out these flyers for this DJ?" I was like, "I can't get a job." I said, "But I thought you all got degrees. You'll get your job." It's like, "No, I couldn't get anything." So what actually happened to the guy? He actually ended up whole things actually being a car mechanic in actually Iceland of all places. That was what really he had to do. Many people as well went into completely different jobs, different industries, got involved in different things, or they ended up as a sales assistant working at McDonald's. That was a reality for most people who got a degree. That was, to be blunt, the reality once people actually tried to apply for different jobs or different careers. They found out their degree wasn't worth anything. Or the boomer boss was like, "Okay, you got your degree, but you now need 10 years experience, 20 years experience." But again, if we go back to what we're told, the degree itself was supposed to give you that, so you shouldn't have had to do that. But that resulted in many people either getting completely stuck in life or having to diversify different careers or just try different things. That's why, in general, for some of us who are millennials, we sometimes find it a bit weird, a bit funny when Zoomers are like, "I'm going to get my degree, I'm guaranteed a job." And it's like, they're doing the exact same things, but they're already being told by everyone, or it should have been, that's not how things work. Unfortunately, it would be nice if it did work like that, but in reality, it doesn't. I mean, another thing as well, which was a big problem under the boomers' leadership, was they basically complete and utterly oversaturated the market with degrees. For example, look at how many people have got psychology degrees, sociology, business management. There's loads of these people all around the world, basically. But they don't seem to have the sense to realize that was basically what basically made it become so worthless. Because if you go back into the history of the boomers, when the boomers were younger, there would be a much small amount of people having a degree. So having a degree, for example, purposes, If you were, say, in a town, let's just say, for argument's sake, you're in a town, say 10,000 people. If you're 1 in 5 people with a degree, it's only you and 4 other people, then you could argue that makes you unique or attractive potentially to an employer because there's only ever 4 other people with that degree. Then it would in theory make you attractive, but that as a whole would completely change because the market got so saturated, people having degrees, that itself basically resulted in the degree becoming basically worthless. That's why most of us call it a piece of paper. Because I was reading a bit of a funny comment, I think, from an American woman, and she was really obsessed with her degree, and she's like, why didn't I get my special piece of paper, my special certificate? I was like, so that's really weird. Because most people sort of come to the conclusion it's just a piece of paper. Because even if you're going to take it as far as, okay, but I went to Oxford or I went to Cambridge, again, that's not going to help you much. Because in general, there's lots of people who've been there, and even if you have gone there, if you want to take the extremes, it's been quite well documented by many different employers, many different people, that having a degree in a lot of cases, it actually makes you less intelligent. For example, I've been told by many people who are area managers, people who are actually in charge of different companies, they actually try and avoid people with degrees. So why exactly do they try and avoid people with degrees? Well, you have to go back to what you've been taught. In most cases, when you go to university, you're being taught out of date information, or you're being taught information which is completely unapplicable to your job or any jobs in general. For example, I remember speaking to a guy, and basically he was basically one of the Tesco area managers, and me and him were just talking general things, and he said to me, I just had to do again. I said, what's that? I said, I had to sack another guy with a degree. I said, why is that? I said, well, he basically started working for me. He came across very arrogant. When it came to actually doing different jobs, he was just so unconfident. He kept making mistakes all the time. Then when I told him this is not how things work, he'd basically say, yeah, but I got my degree, it tells me everything, I know what I'm talking about, you're wrong. So he had to fire him. He was just grossly incompetent. That itself done a lot of damages to millennials, and if Zoomers are going to be following the same bad advice, it will probably do you harm as well. Because you're not being taught useful skills or knowledge, you're basically being taught in a lot of cases either completely useless facts or out of date information. Because when I done business management in high school and compare it to college, basically, to be blunt, everything I learned in high school regarding business management, the 4Ps, that kind of stuff, Boston Martin, all the rest of it, sorry, Boston Martin, I wasn't making mix up, it was basically exact same. The only difference between high school education versus college university is you have to put more words down. That's basically it. It's basically the exact same information, or you have the theories told rather than just a standard 5 times, you get told 10, 20, 30. Someone says that he's got a new way to explain it with basically exact same things. That itself was really what most of us started to learn. It's not actually teaching valuable things, it's just basically teaching you worthless facts. A lot of the things that people learn in college and university kind of came to this conclusion. This is why a lot of people put forward the argument that college and university would be much better if you were actually taught practical skills, which I would kind of agree with. And in regards to software, coding, whatever you would call it, I've noticed quite a lot of Zoomer people are getting very into, becoming a coder, software engineer, rest it. This again is something which kind of confused me and surprised me a bit because most of us have already sort of figured out that AI itself, or artificial intelligence, is already starting to take jobs. So let's go back a couple of years ago to give you some ideas of what has happened so far. So in the past, when you're going to pay someone to do an article for you, a blog, whatever you call it, 500 words, 1,000 words, doesn't really matter, you'd basically pay someone to do an article anywhere from around £5 to a max around £100. If it was sort of some specialist thing, then you might go up to 200 or potentially more in some cases. But that was the sort of cost. So if you just make it simple, just say £5. So if you're paying £5, you'd have 4 articles a month, that's £20. The cost of like ChatGPT and many artificial intelligence softwares, which does basically the same thing, but obviously much more, is around £20. So if someone can pay £20 for a software which can do everything you can do, or better in a lot of cases, that means it makes more sense for them just to pay you £20 a month for $20 or 20 years, whatever currency you got. That itself is basically better. You may disagree with that, but that itself has kicked out a lot of people who were doing constant jobs. For example, I did know people who were making $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, even 10 in some cases. But because artificial intelligence moved on so much and became more advanced, better quality, that kicked out many people who were doing these jobs. Now, yes, you definitely need humans to basically modify things, change grammar, all the rest of it. That's definitely necessary for now. But a lot of jobs itself has been discontinued by artificial intelligence. Another one which has taken a lot of hits lately is graphic design. Now, I know some people argue that, yeah, but artificial intelligence can't do as good as graphic designs. I would have to disagree. I mean, yeah, you get some fantastic graphic designers, no doubt about it, but artificial intelligence can do the same things. You can make a high quality image using Gemini. You can use a high quality image using ChatGPT or something else. You can make high quality images very easy. Whether you're going down the branded route, a picture, a photograph, or whatever you want style wise, you can do these things quite easy. So that itself has discontinued many what? Graphic designers. Many other people who were working these sort of jobs are being either simply fired, whatever you call it, or have been made redundant, or simply can't become self-employed anymore. They've had to go back to looking for other jobs. That itself is happening quite quickly. So if your goal is to become, for some reason, that we want to become a software engineer, you getting a degree from some university or college, you're going to have to sort of look at things factually. Will it get you a job? Yes, it could help you get a job, but you have to consider some factors which people don't seem to be aware of, which I was a bit surprised by. Many people have been fired or sacked in regards to what's going on in the tech industry at the moment. So you might find it could simply be impossible to get a job, or it becomes very, very hard. That as a whole has basically meant that many people who were working in the software industry are either simply redundant, or they've had to go into other work areas, or if they're old enough or have got enough money, have potentially retired. This is again something I was a bit surprised with Zoomers are not really seem to be aware of, but that itself is going on time. Another thing you have to be aware of, which even if we're going to kick out from this equation artificial intelligence, it's been a common practice for quite a long time period, but people in the Western world or other countries, they will outsource the software work to people in Asia or other countries so they can pay them less. That itself has gone over well. So for example, if we're going to make it simple, let's just say you're going to make an app for some reason. You're going to make an app for someone. Your price is, say, $1,000. If your price is $1,000, it would be fairly easy if someone wants to, for some reason, to find someone in Asia who can do the same thing as you, same quality, for around $100 to $200 to $300. It doesn't really matter how much less it is. That's not really that important, but people themselves will, in theory, outsource it. That itself has gone on for years. That's why, in general, the only really ways you would, in theory, be able to get into the industry, if that's what you want to do, you would basically have to build up a lot of reputation with different companies. You'd have to show evidence of what you can do and a range of other things. Because most of the people I know who are good at software work, they don't have degrees. They never got degrees. They just sort of done it because they like doing it or found it fun. Yeah, you can definitely get people who get degrees are highly intelligent regarding coding or rest it, Python, Java, JavaScript, hypertext markup language or rest it, and CSS language, among others. But in general, most people who actually are good at it or were good at it are mostly self-taught, because you can learn all these things for free or very, very little money. I mean, if your goal is to learn a software language, for me in general, unless you really want to go to university for some reason, it doesn't really seem necessary anymore. Because I mean, in general, you're just wasting your time. And even if you're going to say your university tutor is really intelligent, really smart, really good, or rest it, you can basically learn everything he or she can teach you very easy on YouTube. Or if you want a more course-themed approach, you can quite easily buy a course from Udemy. Or you can simply get trained if you want to by ChatGPT or some other AI software. You have all these tools available to you if you want to learn new skills or get better. And if your big hope is to become a software engineer, you may find it hard or impossible. If it's something you really want to do for some reason, you can do it. But I would not get involved in this whole, you've got to get your degree because the boomer told you to do it. Because I was kind of surprised that more of you didn't already know this, but hey, I guess you never weren't. But in general, with regard to artificial intelligence, we for now don't know how far it's going to go. We don't know how many jobs are going to be discontinued. We don't know how many companies are going to fold in regard to the technology industry. We don't know how many new jobs will be created with artificial intelligence. We still don't know. It's basically a guessing game. But if your goal is to get some special degree which is going to guarantee a job, that's probably not going to happen unless either A, you're very well connected, you have a friend who, for example, purposes say in charge of a software company, unless you got something like that, then you're probably going to struggle to get into the industry as a whole. Another thing you can probably find proof of if you want to quite easy, if you look on different employment sites for example purposes doing coding work, you will find quite a lot of job offers are basically things where you will basically be training an artificial intelligence thing on some language. So that itself would be, in theory, your replacement, to be blunt. And that's what you should be aware of if you're wanting to go down the whole software work. And in regards to this degree idea, it kind of depends on you, because one of the things I kind of agree with what Musk said before, Musk basically said he doesn't care if you got a degree. Quite a lot of companies don't really anymore. I mean, yeah, some do, which are applying the full-on boomer logic, but a lot of people who actually are working in the tech industry, they don't care if you got a degree. With regard to things I've done for software work, no one's ever asked me for a degree. No one said, hey, you got your degree? It's never come a conversation, because no one cares in most cases. The only people who care in regards to certain things are generally human resource people, or boomers who are still obsessed with the degree logic all the time, or degree idea. So if you're wanting to, get into software, it's kind of down to you. If you really want to do it for some reason, then go for it. But if you want to get a full-time job, you have to look into, can you actually break an industry? What exactly makes you different or special or smart? What exactly is something you can do which no one else can do? I'm just going to take a suit off. But that's just an example. Just to show you this thing quickly. Because, for example, just throw a suit off now. In the past, we were all told we're supposed to wear, suits for work. No one cares, Jimmy, if you wear a suit. Unless you're going for a high-end job or for some reason request it, you don't care. You can go for a job wearing a t-shirt, you can go for a job whatever you want. I mean, as long as you don't look really bizarre, you don't really care. But this again kind of goes back to the equation. You're always going to be getting told one thing, which could be right or wrong. You also have to be aware in regard to technology is changing at an incredibly fast rate. Meaning, even when you do learn one language, you might find by the time you learn it, they might want you to learn something else. So you might find the course you just done, it could be useful, true, but you might find they want you to do another one. For example, if you just learn Python, they might say to you, oh, but can you do a C language? Can you do hypertext markup language? Can you do Java? Can you do another language, such as Julia? And that's what you have to work. If that's what you really want to do, you would have to sort of see how exactly you can potentially break into the industry if that's what you want to do. And I would also be aware, we don't know how many jobs are going to get deleted in the next little while. We don't know if 100 is going to delete, 1,000, 1,000,000. We don't know. That's the things you have to be aware if that's what you want to enter into. Another thing you should be aware of as well in regards to artificial intelligence, at the moment, everyone is claiming that they're the master, they know everything, they're the guru, whatever you call it. Okay, cool. But in general, with the rate of change of how quick it's changing, we don't know what exactly is going to stay, what exactly is going to continue job-wise. We don't know what exactly is going to be still here or what's going to completely change. Yes, you can definitely make money in the software industry, that's true. But again, it kind of goes back to you. How exactly can you make yourself attractive to an employer if that's the route you want to go? Can you code yourself? Can you make a software which is going to do something really useful? If you can tell me you have an idea which is really great and you found proof, for example purposes, say 1,000,000 people want it and they're basically guaranteed to buy it. If that's the case, then go for it, make a software. But be aware, it's like everything, you have to be able to market yourself. For example, build up a LinkedIn profile, make your own website, however you want to do it. You have to have ways to promote yourself to show evidence to people that you are the right candidate for different jobs. You should also be aware in regards to the degree system. As I've already said, and I'll just say it again in case you didn't hear me or didn't pay enough attention, having a degree does not guarantee a job. That's the fact. Having a degree will only guarantee you a job if you have a degree which everybody needs. For example, if you have a degree, and for example purposes in your area, there's say 100,000 people who need that person, and you're only one, then you're guaranteed to get a job basically. If, for example purposes, 100,000 people need a job, and there's say, for example purposes, 200,000 applying, then you're going to struggle to get into that industry. It's like always, it kind of comes back to you. for what's going to work or what's not going to work. Anyway, I hope that makes sense to you, and that's basically it covered. Some basic information about degree system, the boomers that are screw up regarding it all, and a bit into artificial intelligence. Anyway, so have a good day, good week, and bye.